Okay, all right. I think Suan has tried it. I think Muna has tried it, but maybe I should try it as well. Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Okay, good, good. At least I get some response. I was worried, all the pretty ones normally will get a response, and I won't get that kind of response. So thank you for giving me that face. So very, very honored to be here today. I think it's really special to be actually exploring what it means to be young and what it means to be a youth in today's world. So before I start, I'd just like to explore a little bit with you guys what it means to be youth in today's world. So, and I'm giving this fanciful app that you guys can actually poll on. So let's try it. Can I have the first poll up? All right, so there's this first poll on this question on what percentage of the world's people are youth today. So if you guys who haven't gone into it, can you just start putting it in? What do you think is the percentage of the world population who are youth today? Okay. I see the 15 is not doing very well. Okay. Oh, someone actually tried to give the 15 some votes. Good. Okay. So I can see most of you are actually in the 30% range, all right? But actually, based on what the UN's youth survey was actually last year, it showed that actually it's about 50% of the world's youth, of the world's population are youth today. So that means every 2 person you talk to, one of them is a young person below 30 age of 30 in today's world. And that is what I mean by huge, huge potential, right? How can we not be emphasizing on youth when actually half of the people in the world today are youth? The second question that I want you guys to explore, can I have the second poll, please? What percentage of the youth in the world do you think lives in the Asia-Pacific region? Okay. I can see the 60% slowly creeping up. Okay, I think we have a clear winner, 60%. And based on the most recent survey that I recently went for and I read it, it was 72.6% of the world's youth living in Asia Pacific. That's crazy, right? How many of you find it surprising? Okay, then what about the rest? You knew it? Or you sort of expected it, but you didn't put it up? Okay. All right, it's fine. So this is really, really surprising to me. And I think when I first came across this statistic, it sort of came to a realization to me that, it's a different world today. And this is what I want to talk about today. So can I have the slides, please? So there's a huge, huge, huge potential of youth in today's world, as sort of we've established when we first started. And I think when you know that 70% of the world is actually young people, it means that today's world is sort of driven and change happens because of young people. The world is a very, very different place today. So how many of you actually feel that Singapore young people is different from what it is 10 years ago? Great, great. It shows that this is working. I'm a bit kinder than Mona. I'm not going down to you guys, but hopefully you can respond to me. Yes, so Singapore young people are very, very different, and this is happening across the world. So I was running a program, so professionally I run leadership programs for university students, young people around the world. So I was running a program in Hong Kong, and in the room, there was an 18-year-old who sort of started his own fintech industry to actually allow accessibility for people into finance, into investments, so that they know how to manage their money early. I actually met, when I was in the US on an exchange program, a 24-year-old Nepali who changed the entire policy of use of plastic bags within Nepal. 21 years old, he started a campaign to say, stop using plastic bags. And on 24 years old, he managed to convince the government to change a law to ban plastic bags across Nepal. And these are just small little stories that I've seen around the world. I've seen in Singapore as well, young people actually changing the world. And why is it so? Because the world today, it's all connected. We have access to social media. We have access to internet. Okay, so if I ask you today, what is the most effective way for you to get to young people through marketing? What would your answer be? Anyone? Snapchat? Instagram? Anyone here? Sahara? Oh, I never heard of that. So is that a new social media platform? Okay, okay, interesting. Anyone else? And keep the idea going. You might be the next Mark Zuckerberg, right? Anyone else? Twitter. Twitter is less popular now, I understand from what I've seen. But yes, the best strategies for getting to young people now is social media. And what do you mean by that? So if you are a old 56-year-old, 58 years old person with 20 years of marketing experience, sitting in that marketing firm waiting for someone to come to you, can you do a poster for me? Can you do an advertisement for me? That's no longer as attractive as this young 25-year-old who's a social media influencer, who has his own YouTube channel. So the world today is no longer restricted to the kind of experience, the kind of reliability that you used to have across different roles in the world. And so I would just say that the world today is so much more in the reach of young people, and that is why it's important for us today to embrace the fact that young people need to step up, young people need to do something. How many of you are actually youth leaders in some sort, leading on some initiative in Singapore, involved in the community in some way, or volunteering in some way? How many of you? Really? How many of you are, okay, I won't say youth leader, how many of you are involved in volunteering in some way, or involved in the community in some way? Okay, a bit more hands. Okay, today, we need more people like yourself, and you guys are the ones who needs to step out into the community to actually change something for the world. I think when we see the world today, when we are trying to reach out to all these people, it's like I said, it's no longer about your experience, but about your imagination. And I think we need to set this context to everyone in this world, everyone across all institutions. I've worked with institutions across the world as well. I've worked with, I did my degree in Harvard. I actually worked with MIT, worked with BU, I worked with Oxford, I worked with Cambridge. I also worked with the small institutions, Binus University in Indonesia, Jakarta. I worked with Asia Pacific College, a small 200 people campus in Manila. But across the board, all the principals, all the directors, they're telling me something. They're telling me, youth are our future. That's why we are trying to do something for them. We're trying to change something. But I don't think so, and I don't agree, because based on what we are seeing now, based on the population, based on what we've seen, youths are actually our present, right? I'm sure you would agree, right? Any nods? Okay, good, some nods there. Youths are actually what we need to be focusing on in today's world. And how do we actually do it? It becomes the problem. We are very practical Singaporeans. We always tend to start asking ourselves, so you say youths are important, we need to do something, so how do we do it? Now, what do we need to do to actually make it happen? Who do we need to get involved for it to happen? When is a good time to start? And exactly where do we start? There's so many possibilities that we can go for. And this is where we start answering these questions carefully by thinking about what's most important and by prioritizing what's most important. So I shall go to who first. Who is most important? Any thoughts? Shout out answer. Sorry? Elderly? Okay, why? Okay. Okay, great. So respect for elderly, that's one thing, okay. Anybody else? Who are the role players in this scene that actually make a difference for youth? Anyone else? I have no love from the youth partners that's in the room. Teachers, yes, good. Government. In Singapore, government always has to do something. Yes, that's true. Anything else? Sorry? Media influencers. Okay, so I have influencers, I have teachers, I have government, I have schools. I also like to say youth partners. That's why I was asking for the youth partners here. A lot of people think it's always the people who are creating these opportunities for youth that are important. But through what I've seen, it's actually not the case, because it's always the biggest stakeholder in this entire youth movement are the young people yourself. Right? Have you ever thought of what can you do to make that change? Right? You can always say, yes, the government needs to do something, right? They need to create something for me to volunteer in. But why not you be the one to, like Muna, create a social media platform to talk about issues that you really care about? Or, create a small little campaign among your friends or in your school that actually can influence and change people's mind. So, to me, youth, you yourself, is the biggest stakeholder in this entire thing. And you really need to start exploring through thinking about what does it mean to be yourself. I will bring back to a little bit what Muna mentioned on the authenticity that you need to have as a person. How do you actually find that inner self to truly understand what drives you, what are your values, what are your behaviors, and actually how does this behavior lead you forward to change your life? Think about this as sort of an atom. How many of you know the properties of an atom? Any physics people here? Okay, I don't expect a lot of answer for this. This is a very scientific question. But an atom is made up of a nucleus that is core to it. And around it, the more electrons there are around it, it actually gets more and more excitable, more and more active. All right? And that is what a young person must be like. You must be someone who has a strong core, someone who really knows what it means to be yourself, what is truly valuable to you. One experience I had was with a youth that I worked with on one of my volunteering organizations. She started out in a single parent family. She started out without any support and was always bullied at school. All right, but through constant exploration, through determination, through resilience, she actually started understanding, what she actually wants to do in life, what is her passion in life, and actually going for things that actually allows her to chase that passion. Today, she actually managed to be one of the first few or one of the only female scholars to actually win one of the highest SAF scholarships. She actually is now studying in Bristol, and actually I just visited her when I was in the UK, and she's doing fantastic. And how did she achieve that? Because she started really understanding herself at a really, really young age. So for youth today, for you guys sitting out here today, I implore you to actually start thinking about, what's really important to you. Do not be that self which other people want to see you be. Be that self that you really want to show the world that's really true to yourself. And then with that, the electrons that I mentioned around the atoms, these are actually the support that we can provide through different ways. The teachers, the social media, the government, through different youth partners, youth organizations, where we provide you the opportunities, and these will slowly, one by one, start excite the electron, and you will one day become a change maker, one day become someone of influence in the world. And this is not restricted by age. This is restricted by how you guys actually want to do things. Okay, so moving on. So where should you go? So opportunities are abundant. You guys have lots of places you can actually visit, lots of places you can see, and I encourage you to see the world. Go for the opportunities that are difficult. There are the things that you don't usually go for, and these are the things that actually change your life. Going for 2 years studying overseas, it's hard to make that decision, but it's important. And last, when do you actually do it? Timing is everything. When you actually have an opportunity, go for it, because the momentum is important. If you miss that moment, you miss that opportunity, most of the time you won't ever get it back and you become a regret in your life. So when actually you present the opportunities, don't ponder too long, don't think about it too long. Know who is it yourself that's important and go for whatever you think it's valuable for you. This is really, really important because if you miss it, that's it. And last, I said last twice actually. This is actually really about after understanding yourself, after you finding what you actually want to do, where you go into a stage where now you need to start to find people like you. Muna started sorry, I keep using Muna because she just came up. Muna started her YouTube channel with her partner, right? Start finding people who are like-minded like you, start finding people who can make a change with you, collaborate, and that would actually accelerate the entire process. All right, so be ready to partner, be ready to encourage your friends to join you, find like-minded people, be with like-minded people. That will help you a lot in the entire youth journey. And so I'd just like to end off with this statement saying that your time is now. Youths are no longer the future, youth is the present. You need to learn to step up. And in Singapore, very often we neglect our own role in actually changing something for young people. We actually need to be the ones to go out there, explore, make a difference, say what we want to do, and all the help, all the assistance will come along with that. All right, if you don't take the first step, nothing will change in this world, nothing will move in this world. Okay? And so that's all I have. Thank you very much.